Who would have ever thought that such a franchise would take off? It's better than the original movies that spawned it, but yet here we are, season 5, Cobra Kai. Who would have ever thought Cobra Kai is so much better than the original? Now, don't get me wrong, I liked Karate Kid. I saw all of the movies. I even saw the next Karate Kid, which we have not seen her yet, Hilary Swank, but we'll talk about that. And yet, somehow, Cobra Kai, the series, is much, much better and more significant. I saw the Karate Kid movies, but it's not like we had toys of the Karate Kid or we played Karate Kid as kids. It wasn't Star Wars. It wasn't Star Trek. It wasn't even Transformers. It was the Karate Kid. There were some cool movies, and it led to a little bit of revival of the whole Kung Fu cartoon thing, briefly. Nevertheless, it was not hugely significant. To be able to bring that back entirely with the flavor of the 80s, entirely with the continuity and paying homage to the original, bringing back that stuff now in Cobra Kai is done in such a smart, classy, and fun way that it's way better than the material that spawned it. I can't get over Terry Silver, who was a goofy villain at best because he was just weird and over the top. They sort of allow him to poke fun at that himself within Cobra Kai, saying, look, I was doing a lot of cocaine back then, and, I realized afterwards I was a little bit off kilter. Like, this was great stuff. Terry Silver now being an entirely badass, scary villain instead of the coked out weirdo, to be able to bring back these characters and improve on them in that fashion, and to give more depth, to give more the feel of the life they have lived since then, how it has haunted them. Talk about it, just an amazingly well done and crafted story, and with an incredibly good message. Because the thing they have that so much of this stuff now, this woke nonsense, is lacking, there's actual values, scruples, and morals. There's actual real life lessons about honesty and decency and honor, mercy, knowing the difference between being weak and being merciful, and the fine line between those things, and what lessons you're passing on for posterity and for the children of the future and of the Valley and of the United States and of the world. And the angst they experience from that, is Cobra Kai going to set the tone for future generations, or will Miyagi-Do? This is incredibly good stuff. The only complaint that I think I would ever have about Cobra Kai, there's a suspension of disbelief that is necessary for any of the Karate Kid stories, even back then. The idea that people are just running around beating each other's butt because they have this ability. It took bullying and the nerd fighting back against being bullied to a new level by adding the karate and adding there's a bit of, you got to suspend disbelief to believe that these things are going on in this way. Most of what martial arts is exercise, not real life combat, and does not necessarily hold up well. Someone's going to get mad at me. And now you have high school kids, sometimes a little younger, running around the valley and beating each other up, and the big riot at the school at the end of the one season, and now fighting at the park. And I think for me, I look at it as it's more or less a metaphor. It's a recontextualization. What it ends up being is the warring clans of medieval Japan transplanted to a modern American setting. Really, that's what it is. When you're training these soldiers, you're sending them off against one another, competing over honor, competing over reputation, the saving of face, and so forth, that it feels like that's what it is. Like, this could have been a medieval Japanese feud drawn in anime, but we're getting it as the continuity of the Karate Kid into this Cobra Kai series. This, and really the soap opera aspects, a lot of people don't think of it that way, but I grew up watching Dallas, and other than karate fighting rather than money, power plays, the very similar dynamic of the relationships and breaking up and getting back together, and who's lying and who's cheating and who's manipulating whom and how is this going to play out. There's a lot of that in this setting, but it's just done so well. I think it's probably Cobra Kai is the best soap opera in history after Dallas, which takes the first prize for me. The show also manages to be, it's diverse. I don't even like to talk about this stuff because the woke Marxists have ruined all of that for everybody. But it's believably California today, like everybody. Everybody makes it up, and it's all different types of people. But they do the classic, real human story. None of those people that are caricatures continually whining about their fake oppression and their made-up identities. A little bit of stuff gets inserted here and there so that Sensei Lawrence can laugh and scoff at them for fun. And that's just him. So it's not like they're taking a position on ridiculing that. It's there. Lawrence is what he is. But the people that make up the cast, you don't even think about the fact, really, I would never have thought about what they look like and where they come from if I wasn't so used to doing reviews on Marxist crap today. Because Marxist crap, that's all they do. The people exist on the screen only to be Latino, only to be black, only to be gay. That is their character, how it's defined. Therefore, they have no character. That's why there's no consistent storyline and nothing actually follows, because that's not what they're writing about. They're writing about what you look like and who you want to screw. Cobra Kai has this fully diverse cast. And you notice it now because Marxism has trained us all in one fashion or another to look at the whole world that way, which has never been done in the history of the world by anybody, except Marxists, by the way. But Cobra Kai, they just write these people and as human beings, and it's just a great, amazing, and fabulous story. And the other thing they do that Marxists can't is they have a good moral to the story. Because Marxists have no morals, they have no way to tell a story only about intersectional, otherkin, made-up, fake animal identities, pronouns, whatever. That's their only story. It's all they've got, and there's no moral to it. There's no values to it. It is quintessentially the antithesis and opposite of values and decency and morals. Cobra Kai gives us this great story of morals and decency and honor and truthfulness and the things that go wrong when you lie and you cheat, and the good guys will win in the end, and you're pulling for them. It's amazing stuff. They just don't make a lot of television or movies like this anymore. And to be able to grab the Karate Kid franchise and make this thing out of it that pays honor and tribute to it, but ultimately is actually better, so much better than most of the films that we had before in it. This is just amazing stuff. Can't say enough good stuff about Cobra Kai. Now, that being said, got like 2 rants in here so far. It felt like the final season. There's a lot of talk about is there going to be a season 6? If you notice at the end of this season, they leave enough room to do another one, but it's not a lot. They wrap up a lot of stuff. They wrap up the relationship, the baby on the way, Robbie and Miguel, their girlfriends, the disgrace of Silver, maybe I should have said spoiler alert, but they wrap up a lot of loose ends, even with Kreese sort of riding off into the sunset, but with the song playing, I Did It My Way, like he could be back, he could conspire with the Asian branch to do something because we did not get to the world tournament. There could be more, and yet it felt like this was a cool place to end it. He goes off to do his thing free somewhere in hiding because he got escaped before he could be acquitted. The bad guy's been disgraced. People have all made up. Everyone's hunky-dory. There's a feeling of closure to it where, yeah, you might imagine where their lives go from here, but this could be the final victory and you don't need more. So it kind of made me wonder whether they did that on purpose. Do they know it's the end, or are they thinking it's the end? But they brought a lot of stuff around, and I can't say that I'd be too sad if it were, because it's been an amazing show There have been a few weak episodes, but really, I mean, this has been a fabulous franchise. I don't know how long you can do it before it fizzles out, or how long you can do it before our suspension of disbelief wears out and we're like, eh. And when you've had people switching sides and the shifting alliances, how long can you keep doing that before it gets old? I recently tried to watch the new season of Stranger Things finally, and I can't even watch it. To me, it didn't feel as good as the first season, but then the first season was perfect television. If you only had it as a limited series, it was a one-season shot. That would be an epic thing to go back to and watch occasionally. But they keep running it, and the kids get older, and the whole 80s shtick gets a little bit less. We've done this for a while, and in that one, they've artificially inserted more woke crap intentionally to talk about it, and then it just it isn't the thing anymore. I'd hate to see Cobra Kai become boring and old and played out because they kept it going for too long. It would be nice to see it come to an epic conclusion where you could go back and binge all the seasons again in the future without having to worry like a lot of the older shows. You start to rewatch them for nostalgia, but you get to the later seasons when they went to pot right before they got canceled, and you're like, Sliders, the first two seasons, epic. I watched them a couple times. I watch all of them every couple of years, but right after the Cro-Mag thing starts and that, right? So do you keep it around until it fizzles out, or do you just let it be what it is? Let people go back and watch it again, bring it back to theaters or something, sell more merchandise. How exactly to do that without playing it out till it's ruined?